Oh. Is this working? All right, there we go. Wow. Stream technical difficulties. Is everything working now? Let's see. Hello, hello. Okay, I think everything's good. Wow. I love when things just break. I updated Windows yesterday, so that's probably why. But anyway, we're here now. Let me know if you can't hear me, but should be good. Hello, Kiki Dev. Welcome back to the stream. I think the voice should be working now, but let me know if it's not. Welcome to the stream, by the way, Manhua. I hope I said that correctly. Oh, I was trolling? Dude, why do you have to do that to me? Hello, Rin. Welcome back to the stream. I'm doing well. How are you? All right, so in today's stream, we're going to be tinkering with some of the gun mechanics. So what I want to do is, let me pull up this board here. Basically, what I want to do is experiment with some changes. So I want to give all the weapons some innate affixes. So basically abilities that are going to be found in the gun part always. Some gun parts will have affixes that can also be looted as a standalone rune from the game. But then I'm going to have other guns that really only have, like, the only place you can find that certain rune or that certain affix is going to be on that specific gun part. And then the other thing I want to do is give the player some kind of bonus for having a thematically coherent gun. So if you construct the entirety of a lightning gun, for instance, then having some kind of effect that happens with that. And yeah, we're gonna see how that goes. Get to go home later today after a month and a half in the hospital. That's great news. That's awesome. Glad to hear that. And I'm sure you're looking forward to that. So yeah, that's really good. Okay, so before I get into it, I want to remind everyone that I've got all of the ways that you can support me linked in the description below. You could purchase one of my Udemy courses. It's a great way to support me and support my work. And it's also a great way to get kickstarted on your Godot learning if it's something that you've been interested in. And you can also wishlist Gunforged, which is the game that I'm working on today, as you can see by this beautiful logo. The demo is also available on Steam, so if you want to play the demo and leave me feedback, please do. Otherwise, you could follow me at various social accounts and sign up for my email newsletter. Again, all of that stuff is linked in the description below. So let's get right into it. Yeah, exactly. That's awesome. All right, so I have no clue how I'm going to start doing this. So the first thing I want to do is have some sort of innate affix. Now, I already kind of have this with the gun part resource. There's this thing I called guaranteed affixes. And I might actually end up changing this. But let me see where this exists at. So guaranteed, I think I have affix resource. Affix resource. Yeah, so I think what I want to do maybe is maybe change this. I mean, maybe I shouldn't do too many changes at once, but so guaranteed affixes. So this already exists. But the thing is that when you have a guaranteed affix in the game, you can remove that from the part. I don't think I want that to be the case. So what I need now is I need a distinction between the affixes that are on the gun and the affixes that are on the gun part. Well, let's see. I might need to redo this entire affix system, maybe. It's going to be a real Frankenstein if I try to shoehorn this in, but it might be necessary. So let's see. All right, so we've got the guaranteed affixes. Where is this being used? Update affixes. This is being called in here if the resource is not initialized. So basically, what's happening is that I've got the gun part resources, which are associated with gun parts. If I go to my player gun manager here, let's see, gun part resource. So gun part resource, where is this going to be at? So add gun part here. Two part node, yeah. So basically what happens is in the gun part resource here, this basically contains all of the, not all of the stats, but the affixes that exist on the gun part resource. And this is actually inherited by the gun magazine resource, for instance. So this inherits gun part resource. And there are some additional stats in here. But all of the affix stuff exists on the base resource. So what happens when I add a gun to the player, or a gun part to the player, it will call this two-part node. It creates a gun part node, and then it assigns that gun part resource. And then it's from those resources that the gun stats are created. So if I go to my gun stats here, what I'll say is, you know, I've got this static function that returns a gun stats object from a list of part resources. And it basically just iterates over that and says, okay, if it's a magazine, set up all the stats from the magazine, set up all the stats from here, so on and so forth. And then these are like these affix slots, which are the rune slots, are applicable to all gun parts. So it uses all of these. So basically I'm starting from the gun resource and building up to a final stats object. And we've got affixes here. So the tricky thing is going to be the total affix slots, so resource affix slots, okay. So I need to, if I'm going to move to like an innate affix system, I basically need to remove that from consideration when it's calculating the affix slots and the available slots. It shouldn't be a removable affix. So I think I'm going to transform this guaranteed affixes into those innate affixes, and I might end up renaming this. That might actually be a good idea. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should... Maybe I should just build a parallel sort of thing here. In any case. Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and do this. I'm just going to build a parallel thing, and I'm just going to build it alongside of the system that currently exists. And then once I migrate everything over, I'm going to clean this all up. So the affix resource, I'm going to have an array of affix resources. Let's call it innate affixes. Get private set. Okay, we'll initialize that there. And then this affix slots here. And this affixes. So this is going to be... I'll leave that as is, and I'm going to do this. Public list gun part affix innate. Well, I already got the list here. Innate affixes. Yeah, I think... I don't know. I don't really like doing this, but I'll just call this innate affixes list. Okay, so in here, in this update affixes, for each var affix and guaranteed affix, this is going to change to innate affixes here. And then I'm going to add this to innate affixes list. Get affix by ID, affix.id. So now I can pass this in as resources here. Okay, and then I don't want to increment the affix slots. So this affix slots is going away. So I'm maintaining an innate affix list that is separate from the affixes that are, and these are runes. So the word affix and rune are interchangeable. I'm just sticking with the old sort of naming that I have because that's what it's used throughout the code, but it's functionally the same thing. So this is innate runes list, and this is runes. Then we've got affix slots. Okay. So with that change in place, I think that that's basically good. So now I need to go to the gun stats level here. Total affix slots plus equals resource.affix slots, stats.affixes.add range resource.affixes. So where is this affix slots actually being changed? I'm going to see if I can figure out where this is being changed at. Affix slots, okay. So there's a list of affixes which can be a variable length, but the affix slots is basically like what the max length of the list is. I'm sure there's a more clever way to do that, but I have no idea what's been happening in the outside world. Yeah, that's well, it's all over soon, right? Yeah. So let's see. Dupe.initialized. I'm going to trust that all this works, so I'm just trying to make minimal changes here. There's a lot of stuff in here that I'm seeing that I'm not really sure if it's the best way to do it, but since it's working, I'm not going to change it. But this update affixes here, so that's going to update that innate affix list. And then in my gun stats here, so we've got this affixes list. Now, I'm not entirely sure if this is being modified somewhere else outside of the class. Okay, yeah, so here's a spot where it's modified. So I basically need to combine everything into a single affix list. Now that might be okay. Resource.affixes. I'm just trying to think. So do I want to put the innate affixes inside of this affix list? Or do I want to maintain a separate... I probably want to maintain a separate list of the innate affixes on the gun stats itself. Yeah, so I think empty affix slots, yeah. So I think that's going to be the best approach. And then in this handle affixes here, I think what would probably be best is to maybe just in here, in this gun affix manager, this is where all of the affix logic is handled. I wonder in here if I should just join those two lists together and iterate over them as if they're a giant affix list, but then keep this one just specific to the player modifiable affixes. I think that might be the most sensible thing to do, because if I start mixing the innate affixes with these affixes here, then I think I could run into some problems. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create a new list. And I'm just going to call this innate affixes and assign that there. Now I do have to update this here. Innate affixes is equal to innate affixes, like so. Got to make sure to add that to the duplicate there. Okay, so then I can do this. I can do stats.innateAffixes.addRange resource.innate affixes list. You know what? I'm going to rename this actually innate affix resources. That's going to be better. Innate affixes. Okay, so then for every innate affix resource, it's going to go ahead and add that. And then in the gun stats here, it's going to have these innate affixes add range. Okay, so, and now this is going to be useful too for the UI. I can now easily distinguish between which affixes are player removable and which ones are not. And I can, because those are separate now, I can display those differently in the UI much easier. Sorry, had to how to bury the cat. I would suggest having enum with all the affixes possible and just use dictionary lists to modify the main stats. And then use a dictionary list to modify the main stats. I don't think that's going to work in my case. Then use a dictionary. I mean, that's basically what I'm doing. This is just a container class that contains all the stats that are modifiable. But the affixes have behaviors that aren't just stats. So they have logic associated with them. So it's not as simple as like the affixes just change the stats. The affixes are things like bullet splits on colliding with enemy, you know. That's a behavioral logical thing that happens, not a stat change. So has affix. This has affix. Where is this being used? Oh, it's being used nowhere. Okay, we're gonna get rid of that then. All right. Now I do want to make sure, let me just look up this resource again. This try unlock affixes. I think that's fine. Yeah, there's a lot of considerations here, but I think we're good. Add affix to the next empty slot. Okay. So I think we're okay. So now this handle, where is it at? Gun affix manager. So in here, what I want to do is var combined affixes. Can I do this? I'm going to try something. Game event dot gun stats dot innate affixes. Game event dot gun stats dot affixes. I can't do that? The spread operator doesn't work right. Hold on. So you're telling me C# is not JavaScript? Yeah, collection expressions. Hold on, I've got it on my other monitor. Am I doing something wrong, or is this like a C#? Starting from C# 12. Yeah, so this is what I'm trying to do. Do I need to specify that it's a list? Oh, I do. Okay, so it doesn't work with the var keyword, but I can do that. Very nice. I wonder why that doesn't work. These are both the same type. So you would think that just doing var like this would be smart enough to know. But that's all right. Okay, so that's cool. All right, we're getting closer to JavaScript. Okay, so now I've got the combined affix. So in here, so basically anytime the affixes are actually being handled, which happens on any of these events, it's going to go ahead and combine. It's going to put the innate affixes first, so they'll be processed first. And then the player inserted affixes will come later. And then I can take this and do combined affixes. Okay, so that's a relatively minimal change. I've only changed 3 places. That's not the only places that need to change, but I should be able to test this relatively easily now. So let me build my solution here, and then I'll just go ahead and start modifying something. So like for the moss weapon, for instance, I'm going to go ahead and go to my resources, gun, and then in my moss barrel here, I'll go ahead and innate affix resources, boom, quick load, poison, and I can just do that. So now I can attach poison there. Moss magazine, This has guaranteed affixes. That's going to go away, but I'm not using that anymore. Quick load poison. So now all of the moss parts are going to have poison, for instance. And these are going to be their innate affixes. Okay. So now let's see if that works. So what I'm going to predict that I'll see, if I'm understanding correctly, is that when I go into the game and I have my moss weapon, it's not going to actually show me any runes that I actively have because the guaranteed affix system is gone and been replaced, but it should still apply poison. So I've got my moss weapon here. You can see that there's no runes listed here. It doesn't say that there's anything here, but if I shoot this thing, I should have 3 stacks of poison. Okay, I don't have 3 stacks of poison. We have some debugger errors. Oh, we don't have debugger errors. Okay, so it didn't work. That's cool. Yeah, that's really interesting. What am I doing wrong? Update affixes. Duplicate affix. Oh, I did not add it to this dupe either. Dupe.innate affixes is equal to innate affixes. Because I'm duplicating resources in a lot of places to break references. And if that innate affixes was not being carried over on duplicate, then that would just be lost. So that's probably what was happening. So let me try it again. Okay, same deal. I shouldn't have any runes listed here. Yep, no runes. And then if I shoot this, perfect. Now I have no way of verifying that that actually applied three steps of poison, but let's go ahead and go to the gun affix manager here. And let's see. Well, I can just go to my poison affix, I suppose. And in here, what I'll do is gd.print handler arguments affix occurrences. I should see 3 here. So what am I doing? Okay. Shoot that. 3. Boom. All right. So that's working great. Okay. So the next thing now is I need a way of showing that in the Gun Forge UI. So let me think. Maybe it's best to start with the gun part unlocks table here. So if I look at this moss barrel, so I should have some sort of description in here that tells me what the innate runes are. So let's go to that gun part unlock screen. Is there like a rune? Let's see. Set info panel details. Description. Info preview. Let me go to the gun part. Unlock screen. Gun part inventory button. Yeah, so here... I don't know if I want that rune icon there anymore. The rune indicator typically shows if it has a rune attached to it, but since they're all becoming innate and every part's going to have a rune now, or some kind of innate rune, I think that this is probably not necessary anymore. So, but let's just do one thing at a time here. Let's see if I can update the description. So, set info panel details, part.affixes select x.resource display name. Okay, so I think I can just do part.innate affixes here. Yeah, that should work. Get description. Okay. So now if I go into my gun part unlock screen, I should be able to see that description on those moss parts now that it adds 1 poison stack. So let's see. Moss barrel, poison, adds 1 poison stack to enemies up to 10. On hit up to 10. So that's the same for all those. Nothing else has an innate affix, so that works. Cool. All right. All right. All right. Now the question is, do I need some way of differentiating the fact that this is innate? I don't know. I'm going to get some of these changes just like minimally done and then, yeah, kind of see where I'm going there. I'm also going to probably want to write a bunch of new affixes for certain gun parts. So yeah, this is something that I'm still thinking about. The other thing that I want to do is, like I said, I might want to have affixes or runes that can only be found on certain gun parts. I'm still kind of going back and forth on that. Like, the question is whether you should be able to find all runes, so like as standalone runes, or if there are certain, well, let me think. So there's a couple ways I'm thinking about it. One, any innate rune that is found on a gun cannot be found as a standalone rune. So you know how you can loot runes in the game and then you can slot those runes into your guns to enhance them? I'm thinking that it might be interesting to say, well, any rune like poison that can be innately found on a gun part is just going to be not available as a standalone rune. And that doesn't mean that the moss weapon is the only weapon that will have poison on it. I could have other weapons that also have poison, so there's multiple ways to get it. So that's one option. And of course, there would still be runes that you can get standalone, right? There will be runes that are never associated with a gun part that are completely standalone, so you can augment your build with those. The other option is innate runes can also be in the pool of runes that you can loot just standalone, so you don't necessarily need the gun part that contains the innate rune because you can always loot it on your own. So yeah, those are the kind of things I'm thinking about. I'm not entirely sure which is going to be better. I'm kind of leaning towards just making all the runes available, but and maybe having a subset of runes that are innate and cannot be found generally as just loot. So I don't know. Hello, Hawk Game Dev. Welcome back to the stream. Good to see you. Hello, Vishal. Welcome back. Good to see you as well. It could balance the game more to try unique weapons. Yeah, when using weapons that has unique runes. So that's the other option, is that if you have innate runes on guns, I don't necessarily need to remove them from the loot pool, but I can have certain guns where they have runes that can only be found as part of that gun. That probably will be the direction that I take initially, is just to say, look, for the most part, runes are lootable, but they can also be found innately on gun parts. But then there are going to be some guns that are really special, and they have innate runes that can only be found on those guns. I think that'll be a nice middle ground that I can start with, and then, depending on how that feels, I can go in either direction. So I could go to opening up all the runes to being lootable, or if I really like the exclusivity, I can go the other direction and say, yeah, like there are certain runes in the game that only exist on gun parts and you can't get them anywhere else. So we're gonna have to see how that works, but I think that's a good first step. But so now there's a couple of problems here. And I'm gonna have to modify the loot tables as well for bias reasons, I think. Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure that out too. Okay, one thing at a time. One thing at a time. I guess affix slots are going to be more rare. Yeah. So it's going to be more of a commitment to put runes that you could just get from the part. Right, yeah. That's true. That's another option, right? I could really make rune slots a lot more rare, and so it makes it, because innate affixes end up being like free rune slots. That's a good point too. So yeah, okay. All right. I think we're getting somewhere with this. Okay, anyway. Let me go to my Gunforge UI. Set info. Info tool, what is it, tooltip? Inventory tooltip. Part.affixes, so this would now be innate affixes there, same thing. Okay, and then when I go to my, let me try this now. So if I go to my assembled gun ingot affix, what is this? Get rid of those. Generate stat labels, affixes to add, affixes to remove. Right. Okay, this is going to be a little bit tricky. This is going to be a little bit tricky here. Update preview. Set comparison part. Okay, I think what I want to do first is just get these affixes working. So left resource, so generate stat labels. This is going to go in here. Affix label data. Assemble stat labels, affix data. Get label, get affix label data. I guess I can replace this. Left resources, right resources. Get distributed affix data. Oh my gosh. What is going on here? So get distributed affix data. This is a little bit, oh my gosh. I forgot about all this. So all of this in here essentially is so each gun part has a number of affix slots, and the idea is that in order to smooth out the transition of slotting in new weapon parts, if you've got one affix slot on your magazine and you've got 2 affix slots on your receiver and you've got 0 affix slots on your barrel, and let's say you swap out the receiver such that it has fewer affix slots, this function here, this get distributed affix data, is basically a way of redistributing all the affixes across the newly available affix slots, so that as you're swapping in and out gun parts, it preserves as many runes as it can during that transition by redistributing the affixes across the guns. Now, this is very, very complicated because I'm storing individual lists of affixes on individual gun parts, and I'm not entirely sure if there's a way that I can get around that. I mean, the way that I could get around that is somehow have like a meta object that contains all the affixes that are associated with a gun holistically, and then only store the rune slot counts on the gun parts. And then that way it's just a matter of like, if the rune slot count becomes less than the array length, let's say, then I can just pop off the remainder of the elements in the array. But the problem is I don't have a concept of like a meta gun that ties everything together. And so that's kind of tricky. So I'd have to create that concept and then reorient everything around that. And I just don't think that that's going to be useful. So there's a lot going on here. Label data args, let's see, left resources, additional affixes, affixes to remove. Yeah, so this generation of these stat labels is going to be very tricky. So assembled gun stats, it's this object here. Affix label placeholder. Stat label data to array, set stat label data, affix label data. Affix is removed, affix is gained. affix label data. Okay. Affix data. So basically it's taking the left gun resources and the right, or these are just comparisons. So the left resources being the gun resources that are current, the right resources being the new resources, additional affixes being any additional affixes that I want to add, which I don't really understand this either, but that's all right. New affix count, remove affix count. So get distributed affix data. So I was just in here. I just need to figure out what the heck is going on. I just don't understand, where is the affix list even coming from? Update preview. Gun part resources. So we've got the left resources, right resources. Like, where is it actually referencing the affixes? Did I miss it? It would be here. I mean, these are enumerables, right? Yeah, list gun part affix. So it's got to be in here, but I'm not actually... Oh, here. Base resources select many x.affixes. Okay. So essentially what I need to do is I need to do all this stuff, but for the innate affixes as well. Removed affixes, new affixes. I mean, I could just leave the preview alone for now. The main thing that I need is I need like a label. I need to list the innate affixes on the stats here. And I'm not going to have proper comparisons, but I'm just going to try something here. For each var innate affix in, what are my innate affixes? Okay, this is just a monster, but I'm going to try this. Right resources dot select many. I'm just going to do this. Result dot add new affix labeled data. Text equals innate affix dot get description. I don't have a count for this, so whatever. So there's a lot going on here. I might need to rework some of this stuff. I probably should simplify all this. I think I can. I just need a concept of like a meta wrapper around the gun itself. Oh man, that's going to be a lot of work. Okay, well, let's just try it. Also, the kind of bullet being fired is some sort of affix is not described as such, but it's innate to the part. That's true, yeah. Yeah, I should definitely label somewhere where the bullet is, or yeah, like give the player some indication of what the bullet is going to be. Hello, Viper J. Oh, by the way, yeah. Sorry. My mind is going all over the place. Hello, Viper J. It's amazing you know where to update the code. If you walk away from this project for a month and come back, would you still know as much, or would you take the time to remember all of it again? I think a lot of it is... So a lot of it is just structuring the code in a sensible way. I know that, you know, I'm going to find this sort of rune stuff in the gun stats. And so I can just go in there and see where it's coming from. I don't have a lot of like, I guess I just have very clean separations between the different concepts. And so it's very easy, even if I don't know the exact file name, it's very easy for me to narrow down where I would find such a feature because everything's so separated from each other, at least to a good extent. It's not perfect, obviously, but so yeah, and it's just I think that's mostly just a matter of experience. But yeah, if I walked away from the project for a month and came back to it, I would basically be able to become productive relatively quickly, and which is what I actually did. I mean, Gunforged has been on pause in the past for several months at a time, and then I jump back into it and I can basically start working immediately again. So yeah, it's just an experience thing, I think. Do you plan on anything ahead, like on a Kanban board? You just pick up and think through changes? I have some ahead. Yeah, I have a Kanban board here where I do some planning. This isn't like rock solid though, like I'm constantly moving things in and out, and reprioritizing things. But generally speaking, yes, this is like, you know, my main area of focus is in the Kanban board. Hello, Cami. Happy to catch you on a stream. Welcome. Good to have you here. To write off of Viper's J's question, I love component-based architecture. You exposed me to that. It's helped my project so much. Love the modularity and ease of management. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that, Cami. Thank you so much. And yeah, I'm glad that you found my my little composition. I don't know, did you take the Vampire Survivors course or did you watch the composition video? In either case, I'm glad that you found those useful. And yeah, happy to help. Oh, it broke. It broke. Value cannot be null. Let's go into null, 106. We'll do left resources then. I think for my sake, I need to probably redo this system, but I'm just kind of like hesitant to redo that label system for the runes at least, because yeah, I'm not sure if it's going to be worth the effort yet. I think it will be, but okay. So here's one of the tricky parts though. So I've got innate runes, adds 1 poison stack to enemies on hit up to 10, adds 1 poison stack to enemies on hit up to 10. So these are all the same. These are all the same rune, right? And they need to be combined together, and that's kind of a lot of the trickiness is coming, like a lot of the trickiness of here is coming with that. But also, you know, it's, yeah, I wonder if I could just, oh man. Maybe I shouldn't rewrite this. Maybe I should just... This would be a lot simpler if I could just not have to worry about redistributing affixes across all the different gun parts. Let me think about how to do that. Because this is like the main complicating fact. I think this is kind of easy. Like I can do var innate affix count and just copy all this here to group it all up. So group by type, get key, there we go. And this is going to be innate affixes. Now the problem is all of my differentiation. So this get distributed affix data, it's basically the thing that's telling me, okay, here's the removed affixes, here's the new affixes, here's the static affixes. But some of these are going to be innate. So do I add more arguments to the tuple here for the innate affixes that are being removed? That's the thing. And is that even the most efficient way of doing it? I mean, maybe I don't even need to do that. Maybe I can just... Yeah, like I don't even know what's going on in here. I'm going to investigate, see if I can simplify this get distributed affix data a little bit better. But in terms of the innate affixes, it should be relatively simple. So I've got this innate affix count now. This is going to have to be left resources dot innate affixes, or select many x. Whoops. X dot innate affixes, group by, get type. Yep. And then down here, this is just going to become innate affix. No. Right, so this is going to be like so. And then down here, innate affixes dot distinct by x dot get type. You know, basically this, and then count is like this. Pass in the count here. Innate affix. And now I'm going to have that combined text that I was talking about. So the real trickiness is just in generating the diffs, right? So when you go to preview a gun part change, it highlights in red and in green what has been removed and what has been added. That needs to happen for the innate affixes as well. But then there's other tricky parts like the gun scrambler, right? So the gun scrambler is going to scramble all your runes. And obviously for innate affixes, it shouldn't really scramble those. So, I mean, maybe this might be easier than I thought it would be, but it might be easier than I thought it would be, but we'll try something here. So, oops, that didn't work. Okay, why didn't that work? Label factory 110. Oh, innate affix count. There we go. Just had the wrong reference there. Watched the composition video and also took the course. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Super insightful. Good to hear. Yeah. Composition all the way. Yeah. Are you working? Oh yeah, Cami, are you working on any project? Yeah. Let's hear it. Good morning, Defected. How are you? Welcome back. Yes, happy Friday indeed. So now I've got these innate runes added. So innate adds 3 poison stacks to enemies on hit up to 10. So that's just been combined into one thing. So the thing is, I need to generate the diffs now. So how do I want to most effectively showcase that? I wonder if I could just load up the Gunforge UI. This UI stuff, I'm never going to be free of this UI stuff. Always got to do work with this UI. Okay, so yeah, so if I do this, for instance, you can see that the innate text here should change because this banana barrel doesn't have poison on it, right? So if I put this here, that changes there, but it doesn't indicate the change to me as the player. So that's the big thing that I need to figure out here. But you'll notice that if I put this on here and then I put this rune here, I don't know why those are in reverse order. Oh, I guess I have to do the innate first, but anyway. So now if I go ahead and find a piece like this, you can see that when I hover over this Moss magazine, because the rune slots is going down to 0, it's detecting that, oh, it's going to be removing the bleed rune, right? But what it's not detecting is that it's going to be adding the innate rune here. So if I go here and I add that, the bleed gets removed, put back in my rune inventory, but then this goes up to 3. So that's really, I mean, that's the thing that needs to be solved for here. And I don't know if it's worth putting in the effort right now to get that working. I wonder if I should just... I should probably just... I should probably just get it working and deal with the UI being wrong just to see how it feels. So that's probably what I'll do. Yeah, let's just get the system working and playtest the system before I go too deep into making this work. I do think that this is important. So I am going to put this up here so I can see what's going on. I'm going to create a new branch too. Gun part uniqueness. So I'll create a new branch just in case. Just in case I ruin some stuff. Okay, so I'm actually going to commit this. So initial work on gun part uniqueness. So we'll publish that branch just to have it out there. And then what I'm going to do is I really just want to go through all these resources and assign innate affixes to them, at least for most of them, and then just see how that feels. Because I'm going to have to, if it feels good, I'm going to have to go back and design a bunch of new affixes. Some of them can be pretty simple, but I think that, let's see. Okay. All right. Let me think about this. Hello, Xenomator. Just came to check in how you're doing while playing Space Station 14. I'm doing well. How are you doing? Are you using some specific custom theme in the Godot editor? I am. Yeah, well, it's not really that custom. I just went to the editor here, theme, and I just changed the base color and the accent color here. So if you like the theme, I guess I can show you the colors here. So this one is 21222C for the hex, for the base color. And then this one is DB3AE1. So you're welcome to go back in the VOD or pause the video if you want to copy these colors. That's basically all you need to change there. Space Station 14 looks interesting. I haven't heard of it. How are things coming along? Glad to have some time to pop in. Hello, Brian. Yeah, welcome, welcome. Things are going well. Yeah, we're currently working on making the gun parts more unique by giving them innate affixes. So that's the thing that I'm going to be focused on for the next part of the stream here, is basically just filling all these things with innate affixes and then just seeing how it feels. And I also want to probably reduce the overall number of rune slots. So let me actually go to that now. Gun part randomizer. Pick affix count. So here I have a rand fn. So the mean being half and the deviation being 1. I'm gonna bump this down a lot. So I'm gonna bump it down quite a bit. So it's gonna so there's gonna be fewer rune slots available on your gun, generally speaking. And I think that's gonna be great. So I'm going to calculate affix distribution here. So let me go to test gun generation. This is just going to tell me what the numbers of 10,000 simulations are going to be in terms of affix counts. So let's see what that's going to produce. Don't crash. Okay. So with those changes that I made to the affix count, so this is 10,000 runs, there are 7,000 parts, 7,200 parts that have 0 rune slots. There are 2,500 parts that have 1 rune slot. There are 200 that have 2 rune slots, and 14 that have 3. So those numbers might be a little bit low. So this is basically saying 72% of the time a gun part doesn't have a rune slot. So I'm not sure if that's exactly a good number. So what I might do is, instead of changing that distribution, this deviation here, I might just bump up the mean to push it over a little bit. And then hopefully, because I want to see more, I definitely want to see more like 1 rune slot parts at least. There still should be some slots with 0, because you may get a part that has a very, very big increase in damage but has no rune slots, and that might be a trade-off you have to make. But, you know, if the whole point of Gunforge is to forge your guns, then I definitely want rune slots to be more common. So yeah, so now, what is this? 33% of the time, you'll have at least 1 slot. 61% of the time, you'll have none. And 4% of the time, you'll have 2. So I think those numbers might be okay. And then there's also a possibility, a very slight possibility of getting 3 rune slots on a single gun part. So I think that this is going to be, we'll play test that and see how it works. But first, I have to go through this list and just add a bunch of innate affixes to a bunch of gun parts. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Good morning, Christopher. Welcome back to the stream. Good to see you. Something about seeing testing done like this is always so satisfying. Yeah, it's satisfying if you're not the developer. I have a lot of systems to change, so, but one step at a time, you know? But anyway, I'm going to take a quick break, and then when I come back, we'll be adding the innate affixes to these resources in here, these gun resources. I'm going to try to add as many affixes as possible so I can get a really good experience of like what it's like with this system. And then if I like the way that it's feeling, what I'll do is I'll start writing new unique affixes because there's going to be a lot of reuse in here, but I think it's going to be fine, so we'll see. But in the meantime, please check out the links in the description below to see all the ways you can support me, and I'll be right back in 2 minutes, and we'll continue on with all of this stuff here. All right, sorry about the delay there, but I'm back. All right, let's go ahead and get some of this stuff done. All right, so let's just, here, how am I gonna do this? I need to know like what all of my affixes are. Let's see. Yeah, so let's go ahead and I'm just gonna commit this, change rune slot count. Okay, so there's that. Okay, so I need to know what all my runes are. So I guess I'll just go in here. I can't remember all the IDs off the top of my head. Actually, I guess I don't really... Yeah, I can just do this. Okay, so banana barrel. Let's figure out what we should give innate affix resource. So add element, new affix resource. Nope, that's not right. Quick load. So I've got my affix window here. Increasing damage, knockback. Knockback would be funny on the banana. Yeah, let's go ahead and these are just like, I'm just adding things to give the impression of having things that are, just to give the impression for me as a player, like when I go to test this, of what it's like to get all of these affixes as part of the gun part. It's not necessarily the case that knockback is going to stay on the banana. So I'm going to put the fire rate one on the bone barrel, or on the bone parts, I mean. Quick load, fire rate ammo. So this is a little bit tedious, but I'm going to keep saying random stuff and hopefully that's entertaining enough. Anyway, fire rate ammo. All right, bubble barrel. Let's take a look at what we can do for the bubble barrel here. Double damage, critical chance. What's the difference between double damage and critical chance? Double damage affix. First bullet of a full magazine deals % extra damage. Okay, that one wouldn't work. I don't think critical chance works for this one either. Fire definitely doesn't work. Follow up, no. Magma certainly doesn't work. Oil, poison, ricochet. Ricochet would be kind of funny for the bubbles. They just bounce off of the sides of the arena. Shock grenade totem. The other thing is I don't have a whole lot of affixes here to test, so I'm just gonna put ricochet on the bubbles. Bubble magazine. So I'm adding the same affix to every part of the bubble gun because, so there's a couple reasons for that. Like if I do indeed make it the case that certain affixes are only available on certain gun parts, if every gun part of the same thematic gun type has the same affix, then it could stack 3 times. So if you want, let's say ricochet could only be found on the bubble gun, which is not going to be the case, but let's just say that for the purpose of demonstration. Every ricochet rune adds 1 additional ricochet. So if you have 1 rune, it bounces off walls 1 time. If you have 2 runes, it bounces off walls 2 times. So if you completed an entire bubble gun, you would have a bubble gun that would shoot bubbles that ricochet 3 times. And that would be the only way to get up to that level of ricochet. So I think that's going to be really interesting as well. But we're going to have to see. Ricochet. Cow barrel. All right, what should go on the cow? Quick load. Empty slot damage, double damage, critical chance. I think double damage is probably a good one for this. So again, that one is the one where if you hit the first bullet of a full magazine will deal 100% extra damage. And if you get this 3 times when you construct a cow gun, then it will do 300% damage. And the other thing that I want to do is that when you construct a thematically coherent gun, so if you have a complete cow gun, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it so that it doubles the effect of every affix you have on the gun. So that means, and including innate affixes, so that means that if you construct a complete cow gun and you have no other runes attached to it, then you're going to do 100% extra damage 6 times, right? Because you'll have 3 runes and then double the effect of every rune. So that means that you'll be doing 600% extra damage on the first bullet out of the cow gun. and I'm not entirely sure if that's going to work well, but I think that's at least getting in the right direction of making things a little bit more interesting. Crystal, barrel, and magazine is going to have bullet split. And then there are going to be some guns like the crystal gun where the bullet split affix is actually not stackable because, you know, excuse me. It's not stackable because bullet split, like, there's no really way to stack that. I mean, you could say, well, it splits into additional bullets when you stack it, which I guess I could do, but there are going to be some affixes that are just unique, which means that you could have 6 of the same affix on the gun, and it's only going to act as if you've only got 1. So there are going to be some affixes like that, which I'm okay with because it also adds an extra element of intrigue to the gun part system. Like, some affixes stack, some affixes are unique and they don't stack, and so it's finding the right balance of like getting the unique affixes on there versus stacking more of the same effect and all that good stuff. So of course the lightning stuff is going to have the shock affix. Now here's an interesting thing that I could do as well though, is I could, since I have a shock grenade, I could put shock on these lightning pieces, but in the receiver, what I could do is I could add like the shock grenade affix, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to make them all the same. Okay, moss already has 3 poisons. That's good. Oil, of course, is going to have the oil affix. Oil magazine. Quick load oil. Add element. Oops, wrong one. Quick load oil. So far, I'm feeling pretty good about this. Now, the shotgun, this is going to be an interesting one. I think what I'm going to do here is, let's see what I've got. Shotgun. Bullet pierce. Bullet pierce. I think I'll just add critical chance to the shotgun. It's a very, like, shotgun is a very straightforward thing. Critical chance is a very straightforward thing. So, you know, I might as well do that. And then for the sniper here, I'm going to add bullet pierce. Oops. Affix. Nope, I keep doing that. Quick load. Bullet pierce. So bullet pierce does stack. So if you got 3 sniper parts, then it would pierce 3 enemies. Up to 3 enemies anyway. Quick load, bullet pierce. Okay. Now the worm barrel, this one's very easy as well. We're gonna do a quick load of bleed. So even in this example, I've added innate affixes to all of these things. Even in this example, there are some affixes like the totem that don't belong to a gun part. And so the only way to get totem is to loot it as a rune during the level. Now, the interesting thing is I'm gonna have to, well, yeah, there's a lot of interesting things. I have a lot of work to do still, but it's fine. It's fine. New affix resource. Nope, I keep doing that. Quick load, bleed. Okay, so I've added innate affixes to everything. So there's all my resources being changed here. Okay. All right, so let's do a playthrough now of the dungeon level, and I'm just gonna see how this feels. So again, what I've done is I've added innate affixes to every gun part, and then I've also reduced the frequency of rune slots that you can get in your gun. So it's going to be a lot more of a case of like finding the right parts for your build. I'm going to go in without any benefits here so I can get a clean idea of what's going on. But you can see here in the shotgun now, I've got an innate 15% chance to deal double damage. So that's going to be really cool. Let's go into the dungeon. We'll try it out. Hello, Arion. I really do love the look of those tooltip boxes. Thank you, Rin. I just looted a rune, by the way. We'll see what that was. So that's 8 damage. Yeah, I just dealt double damage. I should have like a crit tooltip thing, but every 40 stacks of poison applied Creates a burst that spreads poison to nearby enemies. Let's do that, fine. Okay, so banana receiver, personal space, knockback is increased by 100%. And that also gives me a rune slot, but I'm gonna lose a poison, but that's fine. Because that's a DPS increase, so I'm gonna put that there. So now I've only got 2 stacks of poison. Why is that still not showing up first? Oh, never mind. Knockback is increased by 100%. I can put oil on there. So now I've got 2 innates, right? Because 1 is coming from the banana and 2 are coming from the moss parts. And then I've got an oil stack now. This, I'm going to put this over here. Bullet splits when colliding with enemy. 10% chance to deal double damage. Ooh, this one's actually better. Okay. I'm already doing like massive DPS. Well, we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna have to, the other thing about this is I'm gonna have to rebalance some stuff probably, but get that rune. I saw that surgeon tag your it. DPS weakest gun implying bleed and oil. That's an interesting one. Surgeon. Let's do I saw that. I like that one. There's a DPS increase plus a rune slot. So I've got 3 innate things now because I've got 3 different gun parts, and I can put oil on here again. Ooh, but I could get bleed on this one. Let's do that. Bleed. Okay. So I've got knockback, bleed, poison, and oil all on this gun, despite the fact that I've got 1 rune slot. So that's pretty interesting. I think it's going to take a while for my build to get going before I'm really making some meaningful choices. Also, yeah, I'm going to need to figure out... I'm going to need to figure out a better way of displaying the changes here. Ooh. Glass cannon. Rubberized. Bullets ricochet off of enemies that are affected by oil. Ooh, that would be a good one. Let's see what I got here, though. Respawn, tag your it. Adds 1 stack of oil to nearby enemies every second. Let's do tag your it. Ooh, do I want to sacrifice... That's 2 rune slots, but lower damage. I don't really want that. Let's see. I'm going to take rubberized here. And what should happen is I should start ricocheting bullets off of enemies now. Nice. Okay. All right. Let's see how it works. You balanced the fun and difficulty very well. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Did you play the demo? Welcome to the stream, by the way, Sinan. Ooh, that ricochet, that rubberized is really cool. I think I'm going to have to, if I stick with this rune change, I'm going to have to balance some things more. I mean, maybe not. Maybe I'll go through... Yeah, I don't know. I have to think about it. One thing at a time. Alright, let's see what's going on. Glass... It really wants me to take glass cannon, huh? Let's take quickness. We'll just get some movement speed. Here, bullet pierce through 1 additional enemy. But my capacity goes way down. Do I have bullet pierce here already? No, I've got bullet split. Ooh, so I could get bullet pierce and bullet split. Is this a DP? Yeah, it's a DPS increase. I lose a rune slot, though. I think that's probably fine. Bullet splits, bullet pierce through 1 additional enemy. Yeah. I think that's fine. This is barely a decrease in stats, so I might Well, no, then I'll lose my bleed. Oh, okay. I like how this is going. Okay. So I was about to drag over this moss magazine, but I have bleed on there. Okay, I'm not liking how cluttered this is getting here. So what I might do instead is maybe I'll just show all the runes as a tooltip, maybe? Where you have to hover over something to see what runes you've got. Because, like, I initially wanted it to just be visible, like you can see what runes you have, but the problem is that you have to scroll anyway, so it might be easier just to say, like, put a button down here or something that shows you what... I mean, I could show the innate runes as a section down here as well, but the problem is that would get really cluttered, and also I'm not sure if that's going to feel good to the player to say, well, you've got 4 rune slots, but 3 of them are taken up by innate affixes that you can't change. So I need to think about how to display this information better, but so far I'm liking the decisions that I have to make here, because, like, do I want to keep bleed? I mean, I kind of do, but at the same time, this gives me an additional rune slot if I move this over here. But I only have oil, so I guess it's not really that important. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna leave it and wait till the next wave and see what happens. Ow! I was reading the chat and I took freaking damage. It's all right. Ooh, I need that rune. Okay, all right. Already looks more fun. Maybe number of mobs increase or their health. Yeah, I gotta figure that out. I think, because again, I want the dungeon level to be relatively easy, but with these rune changes that I'm making, it's probably even easier. So I think I either need to nerf some of the runes or just increase. I mean, I think maybe even just like an enemy health increase of like 5 across the board for the dungeon enemies might be satisfying enough. The rats are very weak. They die in just a couple hits. I think I do need to ramp up the... So yeah, either I'll increase the health of the enemies or I'll ramp up the number of enemies that there are initially. Let's take Tag Your It again. I actually like this one a lot. Bone. Fire rate increases as magazine depletes. Let's throw that on there. Let's test that out. Ooh. I like that. Okay. There are some other stat changes that I want to do too. Like, I'm considering just... because every gun part contributes to the overall gun stats differently. So, like, one gun part will have a base damage and the other gun part will have, you know, base fire rate or whatever. And I'm not sure if I want... I might just flatten it and just make every gun part contribute some amount to the base damage. I have to think about that as well, though, but... Increased health, let's do that one. Shotgun, boom. I like the increased fire rate. Ooh, bleed though, and that's a huge DPS increase. What's this one? That gives knockback. I got 3 receivers. That's not cool. I just noticed something here. Change those to ignore. There we go. That was intercepting mouse scrolls. So if you hovered your mouse over the runes and you tried to use the scroll wheel, it wouldn't work. Okay, anyway. Adds complexity to your choices rather than just going for DPS all the time. Yeah, I'm really liking how this is feeling so far. Yeah, there's a bunch of exciting changes that are going to come to the game. I'm going to make gold a lot more common, so there's more to do while you're killing enemies. Which is also hopefully going to punish players, because I got a lot of comments where the strategy was just circle the dungeon like this and just keep shooting. But if all the gold is being dropped in the center of the map because that's where you're killing the enemies, you're going to be punished for doing that strategy because you're going to be missing a lot of gold, right? So I think that to me, like just increasing the amount of gold that's dropped by a lot and then just subsequently increasing the prices of everything, I think that that's going to just inadvertently punish the player for doing that strategy, because you're not going to walk away with as much gold at the end of the run. Now, if your primary concern is just to beat the dungeon level and you want to use that strat, then fine, but it's not going to be the most efficient way of playing in terms of like if you're looking for upgrades and stuff. So I think that I'm going to try that. That's the interesting thing about game design. It's like, okay, so people are beating the dungeon level by just circling in a circle. There's a bunch of ways to address that. I could change the shape of the dungeon, so that's not as easy. I could change the enemy attack pattern so that it's harder to dodge enemy attacks doing that strategy. Or I could do something like increase the amount of gold that's dropped so that you miss out on a ton if you don't, at least on occasion, leave your little circle path and go toward the center, right? So there's like a number of options. There's a number of ways to potentially solve that problem, and I think increasing the gold will actually help a lot there. Enemies that die from poisons damage over time explode, dealing 30% weapon DPS. Let's do that one. Okay. How you started your C# journey? I don't remember. When did I start? I mean, I used C# professionally for a little bit. I didn't really like learn C# specifically. I had a lot of experience with Java and other like traditional object-oriented programming languages. So like really, I just kind of like, when I got into Godot, I was like, oh, I can use C# instead of GDScript. I'm going to use that. And it wasn't really much of a learning curve because it's like, I had already had experience with it, but also had just general experience with these kind of programming languages. So it wasn't like a massive effort for me to learn what was going on, you know? Quickness, combustion. That's an interesting one, but I don't have any fire yet. I don't have a gun in the game that can create fire. So let's do Tagurit. Hello, Susu. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you, and welcome to the stream. First bullet of a full magazine deals 500% extra damage. Holy moly. Let's put that over there. Oh, and 3 rune slots? Dang! All right, we'll keep it. What did I get rid of? Oh, yeah. So I got poison still, right? Bullets pierce, poison stack. So let's see. Boom. 97 damage. Compared to 16. Look at this. 97 because it's the first bullet. 16. 97. Oh my gosh. Oh, I've only got 3 bullets in my other gun. Oh, that's terrible. Anyway. Increased stamina. Yeah, let's do that. I want the increased stamina. I'll sacrifice a health for that. Hello, Wither King. What is the time now? Do you mean like what's the time where I'm at? It's 11:30 a.m. here. Die. Bam. I love blasting enemies away. Okay, that's cool. Get my milk bottles shot out. Nice. It's the teacher. Yes, indeed, Corzo. Welcome to the stream. And thank you for taking the course. I very much appreciate that. You should continue with it. You should. Just know that I'm digitally judging every one of my students who does not finish the course. Luckily, you're not doing it for an actual grade. Otherwise, I'd be very, very harsh. I'm just kidding. Thank you for taking the course, and I hope that whatever you've taken so far, you've gotten a lot of value out of it. 21:57 p.m. Fancy 24-hour time. So what is that? Almost It's at almost 10 p.m. What does stamina stat do in your game? Does it somehow affect the health points? Stamina increases the number of dashes you have, which is indicated by the green arrows under my player. So if I get 1 increased stamina, that means I get 1 additional dash. Which I guess I don't have to call it stamina, I can just call it dashes. Yeah, I use 24-hour time too. I always found 24-hour time confusing, but I guess it's just a matter of what you're accustomed to. It's certainly, 24-hour time is certainly less ambiguous, I'll give it that. Let's do Zap. Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, I've got no obvious upgrades here, but let's take a gander. Fire rate would be good, but the DPS goes down. Capacity goes way up here, but DPS goes down again. I think I'm okay with my build as it is now. I don't really like this gun here, but we'll have to deal with it. Bam. This is definitely feeling a lot better. I just got to get the UI stuff down now to properly show. I mean, does anyone have any opinions on how to show these runes now? Because my opinion, now that I've got so many innate runes, let's do Be the Fuse. Ooh, that's going to be perfect. So my opinion is that because there's so many innate runes now, like if you have 3 different gun parts as I have on this gun, there's going to be 3 line items at least on this. And if I add this here, now I've got 4 line items. It's just really hard to look and see like what all's on the gun here. So I'm not sure that this is the best way of displaying it anymore. I think maybe what I should do is add some sort of tooltip similar to this. So you see how the oil receiver is there and it says oil, add 1 stack. I wonder if I should just do a tooltip like this for the runes because it's much more compact, it's easier to read, and you don't need to scroll on anything to see it. So I could get rid of the scroll bar entirely here and just have this be like your gun stats, and then maybe have like an icon or something here that's like hover to see what runes you have. And then of course there will still be the runes that are slottable down here, and you could hover over these individually. So I would still be able to do this and see what specifically does this rune do. But I think this now is just too much. Like I can't, this is too much to read. It's hard to see what's going on. Anyway, any thoughts here? 2:28 a.m. here in Brisbane. Is that Brisbane, Australia? Brisbane. It's quite late. -12 if it's past 12:59, and then you don't have to append AM, PM. Yeah. I think an inventory tab and rearrange the GUI. I would go for tooltips. It looks kind of packed with info. Yeah, it is packed with info. That's the problem. That is the problem I've had with this game forever. Like, there's so much information. I need to figure out how to display all the relevant information in a compact enough way, and I have limited screen real estate. I've only got a canvas size of 640 by 360 pixels. So like, I'm very, very constrained, and it's fine because constraints aren't necessarily a bad thing, but at the same time, it's just a really hard problem to solve. I don't have the luxury of being able to throw everything into like a list of text because it just doesn't fit, right? Sorry, I had to bury the cats again. I was about to type out like a... Yeah, I was about to type out like a I like a graphic with a tooltip. Okay, I can explore a tooltip for sure. You like the tooltip too as well? Too as well. Christopher, can you show them closer to the cursor? The reason I have these tooltips, so the problem is like when I hover over a part, it shows me, if you see the left gun there, it shows me which stats are changing. If I made it follow the cursor, it would obstruct that. So that's the other problem, right? So it's like I need to be able to see so much information at once, and trying to get everything out of everything else's way is a big problem. Brisbane, Australia, nice. Yeah. Show rune icons on the weapon with tooltips. So you think like rune icons here? Like little rune icons that you can hover over? Like maybe in here somewhere? I live in Sri Lanka. Oh, very nice. The tab idea is a good one. So what do you mean by tab? Like you have like little tabs at the top or something? Or like a tab on the ingot somewhere here where you can switch between different stuff? Hello, Khalil. I'm 16 years old. I've been trying for almost 3 years to enter game dev, but I still don't know how I learned C# for Unity, but I wanted to switch to Godot. Can you give me any advices? So are you saying that you do know how to use C# with Unity? If you know how to use C#, then what I would do is you can keep using C# with Godot. The problem there is that there's not a whole lot of C# related Godot tutorials. So I think if you're comfortable with programming generally, what you can start with is use GDScript with Godot. You don't have to use C#. GDScript is very easy to learn. If you already understand programming concepts, you'll pick it up in no time. It's got all the same things, variable declaration, for loops, everything you'd expect out of a programming language. And then you can learn Godot following the GDScript tutorials. Then you can move into C# if you'd like to. If you are interested, I can shill my own courses. I have a couple of Udemy courses available in the description below. There is a C# course and there's also a GDScript course. So if you're at all interested in purchasing a course, I would be appreciative if you could check those out. But otherwise, there's a ton of free resources on YouTube. GDQuest makes great stuff. Bracky's recently got into creating Godot tutorials. That's a great resource as well. So yeah, I would recommend starting with that and then just see how it goes. I guess the runes can be shown on the right side of the gun, and the tooltips and innate runes shown with a lock icon that you can't change them. I don't think there's enough space on the right side. I mean, maybe there is. I guess there is. So put the runes here going down the side. Like I said, I didn't really want to show the innate runes with a lock icon or anything, because I just don't know if that would probably be better though, because it's much easier to know, like the icons are much easier to read, right? Like I know that this is shock grenade, and once I've read this once or a couple times, I basically know what it does. So it's easier to understand what's going on at a glance with these icons in place. So yeah, I think that's probably okay. So have the innate ones listed here as well. The problem is that this could get well, I guess that's actually not a problem. Because if I get rid of this rune section here and just have the runes down here with a lock icon, that could definitely work. Maybe I'll do that. I think the big thing is I just need to get this text out of here. I don't want this to be scrollable anymore. This was a fine solution previously, but I don't think it's going to work anymore. At the bottoms on the right side. So I'm seeing a lot of situations. My goal, and this is kind of an additional constraint that I'm putting on myself, is I want everything to be visible, like all on one screen. Like I even don't really like this scrolling because it requires you to do something to see information. And so the reason I'm not inclined to go for the tab solution is I just don't want to hide information behind a tab. It's just going to, because you have to think about, like, you're doing this screen after every wave, and if you have to click on a tab every single time to see what's going on, that can get really old really quick. So I want everything to basically be understandable with just this screen, and if you need additional information, you can hover over something to get it. But I want like everything to be immediately understandable and visible right here, right now, with no additional input. So that way, if I just like, oh, what was that part I had before? Oh yeah, it was the oil receiver. You know what I mean? It's like, I just want it to be very instant, like no additional work. Would it be possible to make the tooltips a different resolution so you could display more information in a way that's easier to read? Fellow Godot dev here, still learning for sure. Yes, that is possible. Welcome to the stream, D-Rose, by the way. That is possible, but it requires significant architectural changes because the way you basically need to do it is you need to have a sub viewport that's running the game inside of it, basically, and have that render at a low resolution and then scale that up to the screen, and then you can use the native like screen resolution for tooltips and whatnot. I don't want to do that for a couple of reasons. One, that does introduce kind of like a stylistic inconsistency where now all of a sudden you're getting pixels of different size, where the UI is higher resolution than the game. And then the other problem is that it's quite an architectural change. Like I'd have to rebuild all the UIs in a different manner to get that to work. So it is something that I considered earlier on in the project, but I decided not to ultimately do that. Thank you, Corzo. I appreciate that. Godot vids and YouTube, yeah. Yep. Start with GDScript and move to C#. That's probably the best way to start. I don't think problem with space is a big problem since you've got a screen that basically covers your screen already. So adding them on the right side wouldn't be that harsh on the eye as lots of text. Yeah, I mean, I kind of do like the idea of showing the runes vertically on the right-hand side, but then there's going to be this gap down here. So because if I remove this text and I remove the scroll bar, then I'll just have all this empty space here to show the runes, which I think will be fine. So I think I'm going to do that. Oh, so Kiwiwi, I don't know how to say your name. I hope that's fine. So you're saying leave this rune section in place here, but put the rune grid inside of here. That probably would look better, huh? So have the rune grid inside instead of detached. And then I could still probably get rid of the scroll bar and just have this grow. That might work. That might work. That makes sense about not hiding, but hovering over the icon can get old as well. I would at least have a name along with an icon. Yes. The question is a question of space. How many runes can a gun have? Well, theoretically, there's no upper limit, but there's like a soft cap. So if you had 3 unique innates, and let's say you got 6 rune slots, you could have 9 runes, basically. I think 6 rune slots would be really hard to get to, though, because there's only like a 0.1% chance to get a gun part with 3 rune slots, and so you need to have, basically, you need to have 2 rune slots on all of your gun parts to get to 9 reliably. Can also add a runes tab, yeah. Hello, Tangible. Welcome to the stream. What if you move the shop to the bottom side and the inventory in the left? So move this bottom. That's an interesting idea. Shop on the left and inventory on the bottom. How about a list of weapon parts the weapon is composed of with stats? So are you saying like show the list of weapon parts? I mean, I could merge the two things, right? I could show the weapon parts on the left-hand side here or something, and then I was actually thinking about like when you start dragging and dropping, this could actually split into 3 distinct segments or something, but I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of work to do here. Hello, Brekek. Welcome back to the stream. Good to see you. Okay, well, those are all very helpful suggestions. Ooh, what does this do? Ricochet. Yes, put that there. Yes, Ricochet, go. Okay. I lost the mega damage, but yeah, I think all those suggestions are great. I'm going to have to do some thinking about that. I have a lot of good ideas to explore, though. Thanks to all of you, so very much appreciate that. I think, yeah, there's definitely a lot of room for improvement, so I got to figure that out. And, yeah, I should probably get that nailed down. I got to figure out how to generate the diffs more appropriately for the weapon parts. There's gonna be a lot. There's gonna be a lot. That's the other thing, is the diffs are really important. So when you hover over a part, being able to see which runes are going to be removed and which are going to be added. I don't know how I'm going to show that with a rune grid. I think I'm going to completely need to like reimagine that. Let's do Surgeon. That sounds good. Rune slots goes up, but the damage doesn't. Robust. Secret Service, yes, give me that. I'll sacrifice a health for a Secret Service agent. Also, I find it interesting how people can help you with ideas and all, but when you decide if someone is saying is not going the direction you want the game to go. So yeah, I think mostly like... So that's just like a judgment call, right? Because there's all kinds of good suggestions, but I have to weigh that against what I personally want from the game, right? So like whether things align with sort of how I want the game to go personally is a consideration I have to make. I also have to make considerations of scope. So people make all kinds of great content suggestions all the time, and I would love to be able to implement them because they're cool, but I'm not going to because it's going to significantly increase the amount of time that I need to spend before I can release the game. There are some content suggestions that just require entirely new systems that, again, I can't spend the time to build. And then there are things that I just flat out don't like. And it's a judgment call, right? And I don't want to make anyone feel bad. I very much appreciate all the feedback and the suggestions, but at the end of the day, like, yeah, I do have to exercise my own personal judgment, both in terms of how I personally want the game to be, but also in terms of how much time it's going to take, how much effort it's going to be. Is it going to change the design of the game in a way that's kind of moving away from how I want it to be? And it's like, you know, it's a judgment call, because it could be the case that I'm saying no to a suggestion that actually is a really brilliant one, and that's to my own detriment, right? So it's a tricky thing to figure out for sure. Ricochet looks great. Thank you, Brekek. Yeah, I like Ricochet a lot. Let's do another Secret Service. Why not? Make myself real tanky. Okay, so this straight up downgrade. So now I'm getting to the stage where it's like hard to find DPS increases. So I want to experiment more with more gun part changes. I was hoping to have all the content of the game done by the end of December, but I think I might spend the next couple days just really refining this new gun part system. Mostly because I'm bored right now of creating new content, but also like this design problem has been stuck in my head for a while. So I want to get that resolved. I really do think that this is feeling a lot better, generally speaking. So increase health, yes, let's do that one. Adds 1 oil stack, bullet splits when colliding with enemy. I'm going to throw this on here, actually. Increase bullet damage by 50% per empty rune slot. So I get 100% extra damage for free on that one. Oh, but this is a DPS increase. No, I don't like that. Let's see. Do I need bullet split? I don't need any of this stuff. I'm going to sell this one. Gun scrambler, uh-oh. No, I don't want to scramble my guns. Alright, boss time. I'm doing like no damage to the boss. Oh. The wave is not complete. What happened? Okay. Well, I can't take damage anymore. Hold on. I think I bugged something. Oh no. What's going on here? That's not good. Alright, I'm gonna have to fix that. I made some changes to how enemy spawning works and apparently broke some stuff. On enemy died, check wave complete. Why did that break? Why did that break? File history, open file history, let's see. I made a bunch of changes in here. Man, I don't know why this happened. So I think what's happening now is that when the rat gets killed... Why was this not breaking before? So basically the Rat King spawns additional rats as ads for the boss fight. But I think what's happening is that as soon as you kill one of them, the wave manager thinks that the wave is over. Because it's not, the counts are not correct. So, but I don't know what exactly I changed because this didn't used to be a problem. Now what I did do is I did add a game events. Emit entity died, and so maybe because I'm listening to this now, emit entity died, or is this an old one? Is this old, or did I just add this? File history, open file history. Emit entity spawned. So maybe that's the problem. I think that's the problem, is that this emit entity spawned happens now anytime an enemy is spawned. Wait. Is this never used? No, this can't be right. Yeah, here. So it's emitting this entity spawned event always here. Which is not good in the case of boss entity spawners. Let's see. Increment enemy wave count. Yeah, so the problem here is that previously, the boss would spawn a rat. It would not connect in any way to the wave manager. But now that the wave manager is listening for global events, that's the problem. I am not sure what's going on here. And spawn entity spawner. Yeah, so basically, okay. I basically don't want to be emitting this global event here. Did I think I used to have a signal in here for enemy died. Or enemy, yeah. How did this used to work? Spawn boss, spawn entity spawner. Yeah, so I think what used to happen is in here. I think what I used to do is listen for this. Yeah, so I used to connect directly to the entity spawned signal from that entity spawner, and then listen for that on entity spawned down here. And then I would connect to the died signal. And this would increment the current enemies here. Yeah, so the problem is now that there's a global signal, that's not happening anymore, so... But now the wave manager is just listening for the global event. So maybe I don't want to do that anymore. Maybe I want to put it back the way that it was. On entity spawn, spawn enemy. Rat King. Why do I need... I don't remember why I needed that global game event. Oh, the reason... Oh, I see. So the reason I needed that global game event for entity spawn is because the slimes. So when the slime dies, it splits into 2 slimes. I needed a way to notify that the enemy count needs to be incremented when that slime... Because let's say you've got 1 enemy remaining and it's a slime. And you kill the slime and it splits into 2 slimes. Well, now you've got 2 enemies remaining, right? So the wave shouldn't end because 2 more enemies have actually been created. But the problem is that that's now messing with this because anytime a boss spawns an ad, it's adding to, well, the wave manager ends up listening for that entity's death. So through this global connection up here, our entity spawn on entity spawned game event here. Entity spawned game event. Okay. Interesting. Okay, well, all right, I need to fix that. I know what's going on, but I don't want to fix it in this branch because this branch is for, well, I don't know. This branch is for testing. Okay, let's do this. Boss adds end wave when killed due to global enemy death signal. Okay, so I'm going to probably fix that right now. Well, we can continue on with the playthrough, but I do need to address that. Emit entity summoned, yeah, something like that would probably be better. Which is better for C# Visual Studio or Visual Studio Code? I've heard both ways. People like Visual Studio more if you want to use a lot of the more mature features of Visual Studio. It's got better profiling tools and all that kind of stuff. But I like Visual Studio Code just because it's what I'm used to. It's what I usually work in. It was what I worked in when I was a software engineer, and it just it feels comfortable to me. Maybe add a scene or functions for summoned enemies. Yeah, I'm gonna need to think about. I basically need to avoid in here. I need to avoid connecting to this died signal for any entity that's spawned as a result of a boss, which means that I could probably add some information to this entity spawned event here that indicates whether it should, whether it's a summon or something. But then the problem is I need to omit that from this entity spawner here, which should be fine. So I'll just add that little bit in here that says, hey, you know, this is a boss ad. Yeah, I think that would probably be fine. But anyway, let's continue on with this playthrough here. I'm just going to go ahead and kill this boss. I will say I'm not doing a whole lot of damage. And I don't know if that's because I just had a bad run or because the balance has shifted that dramatically in the game. But I think we're all in agreement that the innate rune system feels much better, or looks much better. I think it feels a lot better. I think it adds more interesting choices. I think the main thing that's bothering me now about it is that I just need to get the UI working good and make it feel good. Which is just like more UI work, you know? But if it's got to be done, then it's got to be done. The real thing that I'm curious about is the preview. So let's just take that one. So the preview being that when I hover over this, I need to be able to show the differences in the runes appropriately, which is going to be hard. Like, you need to be able to see. I mean, maybe it's not that important, honestly. Maybe the only important thing is seeing these stat differentiated, and then I don't really need to show what's going to be updating here. Oh, you know what? The other thing is that the other purpose that this text is serving. The other purpose that this text is serving is it combines affixes as well. So if I had multiple shock grenades, it would actually update the text here to say, if I had 3 shock grenades, for instance, it would update the text to say there's a 15% chance to throw a shock grenade. And you kind of lose that if you just have 3 individual shock affixes here, shock grenade affixes. Now what I could do is just make it so that the tooltip shows here, like just the total. But yeah. So the text is serving a purpose that is useful. I just need to, I mean, I guess I'll experiment. I know that I want this text to go away, so I think I'll just get rid of that to start and then figure out from there how to show the information that I need to show. But if I put the banana, boom. So I lost bleed, I think. But I could put that over there now. Yes. Okay, I still got ricochet and everything. Okay, cool. So yeah, let's see how far I can get. I'm probably going to encounter that same issue when I get to the lowrider spider, but it's fine. Okay, now there's a bunch of ads here. Goodness. This is actually feeling a little bit harder now, too. I don't know why. I guess it's just harder to get the rune combinations that I want. The other thing about this now, too, is that since you can't extract runes from gun parts, I need to probably look at increasing the amount of runes that drop during the run. But that's a fixable problem as well. I can also add a an encounter to get more runes. If it was just icons, it could help with plus icons in a corner if it adds to the same modifier rune. And a number on the bottom for the stacks. Yeah, I could do that. But the thing is, it'd still be weird because you'd have 3 slots and there'd be 3 shot grenade icons and they'd all have the number 3 on them. Because like the problem is I can't just like consolidate rune slots because you still need to be able to swap in and out individual runes. So if I wanted to replace one of those shot grenades with like a bleed, I wouldn't be able to do that if they were all collapsed into a single slot. So it's just weird. It's just weird. That's all it is. It's just weird. Let's take another Secret Service guy. Ooh, big DPS increase. Let's go. I'm gonna move this over so I get more damage out of that. Ooh, but fire here. Yes. Adds 1 fire stack. That's a big increase too. I'm gonna lose bleed again, but let's do it. This one has bullets ricochet. Ooh, and an additional... Yes. Where do I want to put it though? Not on that gun, that's for sure. Okay, I'll put it onto here. Okay, 4 rune slots now. Bullets are going to ricochet. They're kind of slow, but they're going to ricochet. Did I drop? Ooh, got quickness. Yes. All right, here we go. Okay, my bullets are very slow though. That's okay. I'm fast enough to outrun these guys. E. All my Secret Service guys have died in the line of duty. RIP. I'm so fast. Loot Goblin. No, I'm gonna do Thunderstorm. 5% chance to deal double damage. Rune slot increase, speed increase, number of bullets increase, yes. Oh no! Oh, but I lose the ricochet. Oh, and I don't want to lose poison either, do I? Because I've got a poison thing here. Shoot, okay. Do I want to keep the... Well, but like the speed of the bullets... I'm gonna sacrifice the ricochet. I don't really want that. The ricochet's not helping me with the low bullet speed, so I'll trade it out for higher bullet speed. Wait, do I still have ricochet? Oh, wait. Oh, I do because yeah, because I have the bubble magazine. Bullets ricochet. Yeah, I have the bubble magazine, so I still have my ricochet. And okay, there we go. Nice. Yeah, that's feeling a lot better. That's feeling a lot better. I feel like I'm having to make actual trade-offs here. I feel like I have to make actual trade-offs. That's wonderful. Oh, I've got knockback too. I just realized that my banana gives me knockback. That's dope. Nice. Okay, let's take I saw that. Anything useful here? I see a lot of red. Okay, fire rate increases as magazine depletes. 5% chance to deal double damage. Might as well just stack them up. Yes. Yes. my left gun is basically useless. Ow. 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 Okay, I'm not playing well, I guess. Okay. Feeling good, feeling good. Hello, Hurt Wolf. How do you handle multiple and fast gun sounds while keeping it from overlapping or any artifacts? Typically, the way that I do it is I have 5 different versions of the sound effect or something that around there. So 5 similar sound effects that are all slightly different. And then I randomize which one gets played every time the gun shoots. And then I also randomize a little bit of the volume. So I'll either go up or down to, I think, 2 decibels usually. And then the last thing that I do is apply a very small pitch shift. So it either goes 10% pitched down or 10% pitched up. So all of those things together create a lot of differentiation, or not a lot, but enough differentiation in the sound where it doesn't become too annoying to listen to. So you've got, so again, to recap, got 5 or so different sound effects that all come from the same gun, but they all sound slightly different. Then you apply a random slight volume increase or decrease to each one. You play each one randomly, so you don't play them in order. You choose them at random every time you shoot, and then you also apply random pitch shift to it. And that typically is a decent and acceptable way of preventing sounds from sounding too repetitive. So hope that helps. I'm not an audio mixing expert, so there are certainly better ways of doing that, I think, but sorry. Let me do something here real quick. Makes sense. Thanks for the answer. You are welcome. You are welcome. That's from something. What is that? I don't remember. Anyway. Okay, let's do Blood Torrent, because I keep taking damage. Big DPS increase, but I lose rune slots. Bullets ricochet 1 additional time. Do I want to lose a rune slot here? Fire rate increases, magazine depletes. I'm going to put this there and get this ricochet on there. This is going to give me an oil stack. That'll be good. Yeah. And actually, I could put this back on and just get a free 50% damage buff. Yeah, I like that. This is a straight up upgrade to this one. Oh, but I lose my knockback. I think that's fine. Bullets ricochet 2 additional times, so I'm just like Ricochet King over here. Here's the other tricky thing is like, there's a ricochet that's coming from a rune that is removable, and then there's a ricochet coming from a rune that is innate, and so the question is like, should those be merged? Probably not. I think the distinction is good. Innate, ricochet 1 additional time, and then you have this one, ricochet 1 additional time. Okay, all right. I really need to do some thinking on that UI for sure. But, you know, one thing at a time. Everything's incremental here. But I feel like I'm on the cusp of like figuring out this gun part system and making it really compelling. It's almost there. Actually, I think it already is more compelling, but ouchies. Okay. I need to... Ooh, there's a freaking health globe. Thank you. And I got healed. Ooh, I think I have robust and surgeon, so I got fully healed. Where is that? Surgeon? And... no, I don't have robust. How did I get healed twice? Oh, I think I picked up a health globe, right? So the surgeon kicked in there. Right, okay, I remember. Blood Brothers, do I have any way of applying bleed right now? I don't think I'm applying bleed at all. Blood Brothers would be really good to have, though. I might just take it anyway, honestly. Just in case I do end up with a bleed thing. Do we want even more ricochet? Let's do it. Does this work? I didn't even check. Look at that. The bullets are bouncing around quite a bit. Yes. Go. Okay. Ricochet gotta be my favorite one. I probably should make Ricochet a lot rarer, but that kind of balancing can happen in due time. I am getting bleed somehow. Oh, the saws. Right, I have dash saws that create bleed. So if I dash into enemies, I want to change that too. If I dash into enemies, they get applied with bleed, and then that can spawn the Blood Brothers. What's up here? Robust? I don't want robust. Quickness, loot goblin, blazing trails. Let's do quickness, just increase my speed even more. Yes, okay, this is going to be a more reliable way of getting bleed. Unfortunately, now I don't have that innate ricochet, but that's fine. Let's throw knockback on here, let's throw shock on here, and fire rate, and we'll get rid of this minimalist there. Because now I actually have runes to put in my guns, that's fun. That's a big DPS increase, but I don't want to get rid of all those runes, so... Okay, so I have one ricochet now on that gun still. Oh, I didn't realize. Well, okay. I'm playing as if there's a bunch of gold dropping that I need to collect, just to see what it's like to dive in and out of the enemies and try to collect the gold. Because otherwise I would just do the circle around strat, you know? Like this. It's absolute mayhem. Combustion. Do I have oil? I do have oil, so... Right? Yeah, I do have oil. That is a good DPS increase. Might be too much of a DPS increase to turn down. Okay, so I'm gonna lose a rune slot, which means I'm gonna take that out and put this one here. I still have one ricochet, so that's, or two ricochets, so that's good. And is there anything else I want to do? No, I'm gonna sell these. Sorry, I want to look at combustion here. 4-second cooldown. Okay. Oh my. Yeah, this is feeling good. I'm really liking the decisions that I have to make here. Imaginary friend, yes. Okay. These are all, let's see, 5% fire rate increases. Adds 1 poison stack to enemies on hit. Those are all DPS decreases though. This one could be interesting, but let's see. Bullet piercing would be nice. My capacity is so low here too. Reroll? Well, that didn't help. Okay. All right. I think I will get rid of that push and put the... Actually, I can keep the push. I don't think I need that fire rate increase. 1 oil stack. Yeah, okay. What's in the shop? Oh, I need to update the shop UI as well. Ugh, there's so much UI to update. Bleed? Oh, interesting. No, I don't want anything. This is ridiculous. This is a ridiculous game. Absolutely ridiculous. Zap, blazing trails, bloated. Let's do that one. I think we're on lowrider spider wave, right? Ooh, totem. Yes, yes, yes. Where's the totem? Put that there. Ricochet, fire rate increases. I don't want this shock grenade anymore. I'm gonna put poison on there. Okay. Yeah, I gotta rethink the shop too. It's just, oh man. Okay. Anyway, lowrider spider time. Ooh, I'm dying. Yeah, there it goes. It bugged again. It's okay. I'll keep fighting. I mean, I can't take any damage anymore. Yeah, I gotta fix that bug. I shouldn't have killed that spider. There we go. I was pretty confident I was gonna win anyway, so... Alright, well, it's feeling good. I'm really enjoying how that's working. That's gonna have to change when I increase the gold drops. Damage dealt, enemies killed, nice. That felt really good. I like the thinking that I have to do now to actually choose my gun parts is really nice. Okay. Cool. Well, I'm going to continue working on that this afternoon for sure. But that's going to be it for the stream for now. Thank you all for watching. I very much appreciate it. And I very much appreciate all of your feedback and suggestions. It helps me a lot. So thank you again. And again, if you want to check out how to support me, you can look at the description below. I've got my Udemy courses linked there. So that's a great way to learn Godot. You can also... subscribe to my email list at firebelly.com, wishlist Gunforged, play the demo, both of those things on Steam, and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, I don't know. Every which way you can support me if you're inclined to do so is linked in the description below, so please check that out. And Thanks again, everyone, for joining, and I'll see you in the next stream. All right, bye-bye.